Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages. It's Wednesday night, depending on where you are or when you're watching this. We're live from my basement and Brian's basement and Alex's apartment. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello,
I don't have
thanks.
a basement, is what he said. my basement is merely the second floor apartment.
There you go. There you go. As everyone can see, the usual crew is not here yet again. But Alex is back, which is awesome. I think Jay got abducted by Sasquatch, I think. And Sam is busy doing things. So we called up Brian from Embryonic Robot. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Welcome. Glad to be here.
We'd love to have you.
Well, and I know, as I said to you both individually, that, Brian has been a substitute for me or so over the last months. And so this is our first time doing this.
Is this your first?
Yeah.
Oh,
Together,
wow.
yeah.
I feel like the matchmaker making a first date happen here.
Well, let's just, the pressure's on Brian, really. So.
All right.
There you go. There you go. I invited Curtis from Young LP Lovers to join us, but he, I don't know if he wants me to disclose what he does for a living, but suffice to say where he lives geographically, a large portion of that economy is based on the seasonal industry of which he partakes in the labor of.
Okay. Nicely put.
Brian will understand what all that means. So
he got it. He's Canadian?
Yeah, he's from the East Coast.
Okay.
So let's see who's joining us so far. Jack, welcome,
Jack.
young man. Vaginal, as always, we're thrilled you're here. Richard.
Hey, Richard.
Trevor. Music Sanctuary.
Hey.
Hello. What have you guys been up to? How's things been? Is it I know where Brian and I are, we're sweating our balls off, to put it mildly. Is it brutal in Columbus as well?
It is brutal here, man. It's like I'm putting out some videos this week and just starting them all with like welcome to the depths of hell. Like it is nasty. It's about 95, 97 every day, but it's humid, man. Like it is.
Yeah.
Because I know, like Phoenix and that type of stuff, they're always talking it's 111. And,
but it's a dry heat.
it is though. But I mean, it feels like New Orleans out here. It like you just walk outside and it's like an entire layer. Just
Sam texted me earlier today because he's in Virginia, for folks that don't know, and he is at a historical touristy spot today. And because I have a degree in American history, I appreciate that kind of stuff. He sent me some pictures. He goes, "Man, it's hot here." And I said, "How hot is it, Sam?" He goes, "It's 86 degrees and it's hot." I go, "Well, Sam, let me do the conversion. Where I live, which is just west of where Brian lives, today was reached a high of 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And with the humidity, it was 107.
Nope.
According to the Weather Network.
Yeah.
And Sam goes, "Well, don't I feel chilly then?"
Yeah.
So,
It's.
And I can imagine you, Brian, in the middle of the big city would be even worse.
Well, you know what? The air conditioning's on.
Yes.
And I'm in the basement. So I'm actually quite chilly right now.
Same here.
But it was hot. I had to go out 3 times today. I did not want to, but I did. And yeah, it's brutal. It's like a wall of heat. Yep. So yeah, you get the the heat reflecting off the asphalt. I mean, where I live, there's lots of trees and whatnot. But if you were downtown, that would be awful.
Well,
yes.
Well,
yeah.
So actually, funny this comment here. I hate to make light of this because I feel terrible for her. But my sister Rob, she's been in here a number of times in the chats. So she just celebrated her birthday yesterday, and so for her sort of birthday trip, she's doing. I think it's her like first international, like truly international. Her and her friend are going to Scotland for like a week.
Oh, nice.
And so they were flying out of Toronto, and she texted me. Her flight was at like 7:00. She texted me and she's like, I don't think Carly's gonna watch this, but she's like, "I'm so upset." She's like, "We missed our flight. We didn't." Because she stopped. She's coming from like she's in New York, and so she went up through Niagara, and like she texted me when she was in Niagara at probably like I don't know noon, like something like that. She's like, "We got this. We know what we're doing. We know it's gonna be bad." And she's like, she got caught in what I'm guessing you two both realize is some pretty brutal Toronto traffic.
Well, what she doesn't know is this week, all three of the highways that go east-west from sort of Hamilton, Niagara to Toronto,
Yep.
all parts of all of them are closed this week for construction.
Gotcha.
It's absolutely traffic mayhem. Part of the QEW is closed, part of the 403 is closed, and part of the 401 is closed. It's a nightmare.
And it was like, she was there, but they didn't get there soon enough to like check their luggage and stuff. And so I'm like, well, what do you do? She's like, well, we got on, and it was going to be a direct flight from Toronto to Edinburgh. And they got on like a new flight, but there's like, an Amsterdam layover, all these different things. And I'm like, I feel so bad. That is a nightmare. But it's like, you just, if you don't know, you don't know.
You
right?
don't know. She would have been better if you're coming from I live 45 minutes from the airport, so it's no big deal for me. But if you're going from any further away, I stay at the airport. I used to fly out of Buffalo a lot of the time when I was going to the States, and I just drive down to Buffalo because that's only an hour and a half for me.
Yeah.
And I'd stay overnight because I'd have a morning flight out of Buffalo. Now I'm like, if I get stuck at the border, if there's traffic, who cares? I'm not going to miss my flight. So that sucks. Well, hopefully she gets to Scotland in a timely fashion.
Yeah, she's really upset. And I told her, I was like, look, like once you're in the air and you're gonna get there, like you'll be fine. You'll laugh about this later, but it's tough.
Speaking of flights, I should say tomorrow I'm flying to Italy with the family, so we're leaving
nice.
tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Italy are you going?
We're going to flying into Rome, staying one night, and then we're going to Florence to meet up with some friends. I mentioned, I don't know, some video. There's a guy I've known for almost 50 years. I've known for 49 years, if you can believe it. And he told us like late last year they're going to be in Florence. Come and stay with us. And I was like, you realize we have like children? He goes, oh, no problem. So we're going to stay with him for a week, and then we're going to go back to Rome for a second week.
Nice.
So that's the plan. And so we're leaving
Very
tomorrow.
nice. That's awesome.
Evening. Yeah, but unfortunately, it's as hot there as it is here, as I understand.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to get.
They don't have air conditioning much there.
That's right. Yeah, so
I'm
not looking forward to that. But
and this sounds stupid, and a lot of my friends kick me in the ass for this. I turn down trips to Italy multiple times a year. The company I work for is headquartered in Milan, and they love when we come to Milan. It doesn't, the company pays for it, and all the time my boss is like, "You want to go to Italy?" I'm like, "No, I don't." And he goes, "I don't get it," and I go, "It's not that I don't want to go to Italy. I don't want to go to Italy with you. I don't want to go to Italy and have all the work obligations. I'm going to see absolutely nothing, and I'm going to have to drag your drunk ass around all night and babysit you. If I want to go to Italy, I want to go with my family and go do the things that I want to do. It's not worth it to go for work because I'm not going to see anything. I can see our factory.
Right.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I hope you have a good trip, Brian. That sounds exciting, man.
How long are you there for, Brian?
Thanks. I hope it's good too. 2 weeks, if you can believe it.
Have you been before?
So, I've been to Europe, but I've never been to Italy. So this will be a new thing. So
Very
I am
cool.
looking forward to it. Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
if things work out, I will go to a record store or two if they're
Nice.
convenient.
Nice.
Yeah, Brian, I'll send you all the Italian prog I'm looking for.
You know what? French Vinyl Addict sent me not things he was looking for, but he sent me several playlists on YouTube of things that I should be aware of.
Leorme and
Yes. So
Very cool.
Bonko and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently, Brian, you and I can now sympathize with what Alberta went through the last 2 summers with the heat dome. Yeah, that's what they're calling. Environment Canada is calling the thing over Southern Ontario right now is a heat dome. So they had a frost warning in the foothills of Southwest Alberta yesterday. Wow.
Amazing.
Well, it's funny. I know actually you can see it on here. This is condensation from the difference in humidity outside versus the cool air inside. It's
Vaginal, you're right. Pearson is a complete. It's not as bad as it was. I mean, post COVID, Pearson was just.
Oh my God.
It was on the news every day that like they showed pictures of the baggage hall and like the bags were just covering the entire floor, piled deep, and it was a nightmare. So when it was like that, I was flying out of Buffalo. It's not too bad now. I fly enough for work that I never check a bag, so everything fits in my carry-on and my backpack, and I always make sure, because when we fly to the U.S., we do customs at Pearson. So I make sure I have the U.S. Customs app. So I do customs on my phone before I get to the airport, and I pre-check into my flight. So I go straight through the Customs Express lane, and I've got it down that I'm pretty quick, but sometimes getting to the airport is a challenge.
Yeah, I had a nightmare at the very beginning of COVID. I went to Baltimore right before it was declared a pandemic, and that was insane because they were doing extra screening, and I got to the gate after the flight was supposed to have left. But when I got there, it turned out that the flight crew was actually in the same line behind us, so we were all late. It was craziness, and it was even worse on the way back.
Very random question, Brian. When do you remember when you were there? Like the dates?
It was so the pandemic was declared. It was at March 16th,
March
14th, 2020, right?
Like that,
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was there like 2 weeks before.
Okay, this is actually really bizarre. We were in Baltimore at the same time.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, really bizarre. Because I remember being in Baltimore Airport on my birthday, which is March 1st. And
wow.
And I remember, everybody has this story, but I remember coming back from that trip and just feeling really like sick, but in like a different way, not like, puking all night sick, but like I could barely breathe. And like I had was like a very like breathe everything. And, everybody's agent, patient zero or whatever. Right. But it's
right.
But it was just like, wow. And that's the last thing that happened before, everything shut down.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Craziness. Trevor's finally having summer-esque weather in Seattle. You've got summer-esque weather all year round, though. So,
oh man,
we'll give you some of this Ohio, Ontario snow in the middle of February. You get a bunch of snow down there, don't you, Alex? Because you're only a couple hours south of us, right? Southwest.
Yeah, but you know what? What's funny is that Columbus gets, especially grand scheme of Ohio, Columbus gets very little snow.
Oh,
it gets cold. We work in extremes, but we don't get a ton of snow. Nowhere near what like Cleveland gets, obviously being on the lake and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, we get a lot because it comes off the lake and then dump.
Yeah,
but not as much as Buffalo.
True. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent 2 years in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh yeah.
So, probably 30 miles from Lake
That's
Michigan,
crazy because one of the companies I worked for, we had an office in Grand Rapids, and I was there frequently. Yeah, from about 2004 to about 2012. I was in Grand Rapids a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I love I went there. I was there for grad school, but I loved my years. I mean, it was like a perfect size city, a lot to do. City. You were less than an hour from some of the top rated beaches. I mean, some people talk shit about Michigan, especially, I'm from Columbus. I'm supposed to hate Michigan, but I'm like, as far as the state goes, like people vacation to Michigan because of the beaches, because of Mackinac Island, because of the UP. I mean, there is so much to do up there and some of the highest rated beaches that like most people would probably rather go to like a Grand Haven or like one of those beaches in West Michigan than they would like Myrtle Beach, call it Dirty Myrtle down here. You gotta watch where you're stepping, Brian.
Oh, was that right? Okay.
So, all right. Let's see here. What's Trevor got to say? Wherever you're traveling, be forewarned. WestJet mechanics are going on strike. Yeah, that's going to be a nightmare for us. I mean, we really have two airlines up here, Air Canada and WestJet. I prefer WestJet because they don't have the tendency to oversell all their flights like Air Canada does. But if WestJet goes on strike, holy moly, that's going to be a nightmare. I got travel coming up in 5 weeks' time, but I'm flying Delta down to Atlanta, so the WestJet thing won't affect me, thank goodness. But
have fun in Atlanta in 2 weeks' time.
Atlanta in August for a trade show, so I won't be wearing shorts. It's like khakis and a golf shirt, and it's 100 degrees.
At least it's a golf shirt. Yeah.
Holy moly! Yeah, thank goodness for that. They sent an email around today. We're buying new golf shirts for the show. Great. And they said to everyone, do you want cotton or microfiber? I'm thinking, why are you even offering cotton as an option, for Christ's sakes? Those are just going to be soaked. Like, my God.
Man.
Yeah. Fun times. Well, topic tonight, everybody. Let me put the ticker on here. Hold on. I have a ticker and I didn't put it on. Ready? Here we go. What's new and what's spinning? I mean, nothing fancy tonight, folks. Nothing deep, nothing whatever. But we just thought we'd talk about some of the things we've been listening to, some of the things we picked up, and any other things that are on our mind. I got a couple little rants on my mind that are related to a couple records I bought, so I'd like to get those off my chest as well. So,
love it.
There you go.
All right,
Brian, you're a guest. Would you like to go first?
Oh, I guess. Sure.
I mean, we can make Alex go first. It's all good.
Well, the funny thing is, we're going to have a renovation in our house. So we have to clear the main floor. So I moved my turntable downstairs. And that's a different experience because I've mentioned, maybe I have mentioned before, that my stereo system was currently in the dining room, which is right next to the kitchen. So it's really difficult to listen to it there because of interference from people doing dishes and whatnot. So I moved it downstairs and realized that I need to get new speakers because they don't sound very good. But so first thing I did is I put on a record that so this is recently what I've been playing. So not a surprise. I played this OMD record because I know it very well and because Cecile likes it. And she came down. So it's not new. I've had this for a long time, but I have been spinning it down here because I don't know. I guess when you move your stereo to a new location, you want to hear something you're familiar with. So I'm very familiar with this and I wanted to hear what it sounded like. So yeah, I played this. This is my original copy from, when did this come out? 89, I guess, and 88. And it's actually a pretty good collection. There's a newer one that has a triple album of the best of OMD, which is actually quite good. But yeah, this is not bad. The only song I don't really like is the bonus that they added here, this song Dreaming, which was their new single, which I think they should have left off and put on a different song. But that's just me. And I dropped it. But that's the first record I played when I moved my stereo downstairs. And nothing groundbreaking, not really interesting, just that.
Well, that segues, unless you got something, Alex.
I have two questions for Brian.
Let her rip.
Sure.
Well, first one's an easy one. So that's your original copy from 35-ish years ago. When still in shrink with hype stickers in tow.
You got it.
Well, I mean, Rob doesn't have the but yeah, I know that looks like a brand new record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is I have two copies. So
obviously
the other one doesn't have shrink wrap on. I've grabbed this one, but yeah, no, you know what? I never used to leave shrink wrap on. I don't know why this one stayed because normally I would have taken it off. So the fact that it's on here is pretty interesting to me.
I can come over and rip it off for you if you want.
Yeah, I have some records.
Man, people love that stuff.
Yeah, the wax pencils I used to write the price on in color on the cellophane. I have some of those that are still in the shrink with that on. And so for the other night, I pulled out, the Clash to give them enough for open. It has $7.99 crossed out and then $4.99.
Yeah,
which is what I paid for it back in whatever year that was. But new records though, I do leave the shrink on unless it's a gatefold. But unless it's new record sleeves are sturdy enough that they're not going to have any issues with the shrink wrap shrinking and whatnot. So I usually leave it on unless it's a gatefold.
That gives me an idea for a video. I'm going to compile the next bunch of new records that I buy. I'm just going to leave them. And I'm going to do a video where I come on and I rip the shrink wrap off of all of them and throw them in the garbage, hype sticker included, just so people can lose their shit.
That's what you should should really utilize your editing skills, Rob, and rip off the shrink and have the shrink with the hype sticker on the floor and then pretend that you're pissing on it. Do some kind of editing tactic there. So
light one on fire and
right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this should
you're okay with sleeves though, right? Like
I have sleeves on everything.
Yeah.
When I get a new record, the shrink comes off, goes in the garbage. The record comes out, goes into an inner sleeve from vinylstorage-solutions.ca.
Really?
I recommend folks high quality sleeves, and if you use the promo code Northern10, you get 10% off your order. What is
it about? I'm just wondering. So what is it about?
I had part two of my question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, part two. Sorry.
Let's not get carried away here. And then I have another question based on what Rob's talking about. The second question is, okay, Brian, you're in your basement, correct? You obviously,
yeah.
I'm going to make an assumption here that you store your records in your basement. So are all your records in your basement, but then you listen to everything sort of upstairs?
That's what I did until like a week ago.
Okay. I feel like this is a
Yeah,
better
but-
setup for you.
Absolutely. It's a bit congested because I've moved a lot of furniture down here because we have to clear the floor. So it is a bit congested. And this is my office space too. Like right there is which you may have, on some videos you can sort of see where I work. But yeah, everything's down here now. It actually makes more sense. I actually listen to music when I'm working sometimes. Yeah. And then it is better because the only issue is, okay, this is the big issue is if I want to listen to something and everyone else is upstairs, because I do have 2 small children. So I feel like I'm abandoning them. Like, oh, I'm just going to go to the basement for a while. And then, I got to get over that. But it is, I wouldn't do that at dinner time or when, cleanup is happening. But, it's like, you spend time with your family. Can I just go down here and hang out? That's a question. I don't know the answer yet.
Oh. Well, you won't know for a while. You're going to Italy for 2 weeks tomorrow.
That's right.
All right. I got a few comments here we got to get caught up in. Of course, this question is going to come up, and the fans want to know, how about them Blue Jays?
It's a long
question for Rob.
It's a long season.
So, how about them Blue Jays? I really don't know what to say at this point. Still love my Blue Jays, but they are unquestionably a dumpster fire. The team's going nowhere fast. And I think they're probably going to wait till the All-Star break and start dealing some folks. But what magic is going to happen between now and the All-Star break? Nothing. So start dealing people. You're not gonna salvage this team out of the core we've got, so get rid of them. But what I find interesting is the players now that are performing are Davis Schneider, Ernie Clement, Spencer Horowitz, Addison Barger. All of the guys within the last year, or in some of them within the last week, are the guys we brought up from AAA. The veterans are doing squat. Yeah, Vladdy's had a few more hits, but it's time to blow that team up. But unfortunately, here's the problem. We win a couple, then we lose a bunch. We win a couple, we lose a bunch. We need just a catastrophic landslide for people to stop going and then Rodgers to do something about it. And the only thing that's going to fix this team is to get rid of our joke of a general manager. Ross Atkins has to go. Right? Richard, don't get me started. So that's all I'm going to say about the Blue Jays tonight because no one else wants to hear me say it. So we're good. I just got back from taking my son, daughter, and granddaughter to the airport in Seattle. The flight to Greece, luckily, everything went fine. It's funny. Air travel is fantastic because it's made the world smaller. But unless you're incredibly rich, I don't think anyone enjoys the hassles of air travel. It's just such a nightmare. It's like taking the bus, but 1,000 times worse. I can't stand it. I'm thankful I'm not on a plane as much as I used to be. I have like 4 trips a year now, maybe 3. It never gets any better. Let's see, where are we here? Richard says he really likes early OMD, lost interest around crash junk culture. Too poppy.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I would say, though, for their later releases, you might want to check out English Electric. They did 4 reunion albums, and that I would pick as the best of the 4. It has sort of Dazzleship influences, maybe a bit of Architecture and Morality. So I would recommend that one if you don't know it already.
I don't know what Snoqualmie Valley is.
That's where Trevor asked whereabouts.
Fair enough. Thank you. I
don't think that's the name of like a record or anything, I
was like, is this some album? I don't know, because that's possible, because I don't know a lot. Richie leaves a shrink on most gatefolds. Most gatefolds aren't that great. Yeah, I just don't get why people leave shrink wrap on. But you know what? That's just me. And it doesn't matter what I think. So,
but aren't you curious to know what's actually in the gatefold? Like, I take it off because I guess I could look it up, but I just want to see it.
I guess in my brain,
Diamonds ruined it for everybody.
I think leaving the shrink on for me kind of feels like I don't get to enjoy the record. Because part of the record is the jacket. And if it's still in the shrink, I'm not actually, I know that's stupid and but in my fucked up brain. That's how it works.
We all got our quirks.
How about them Oilers? Absolutely. How
Yeah.
about them Oilers? I hope they can tie it up. Would be absolutely incredible. And then we'll force a game 7. That would be
Hockey, man. Anything can happen.
Man, that would be phenomenal. Jack, sorry I'm late. Had to eat dinner. What did I miss? Nothing. 3 morons talking about nothing. Well, 2 morons and Brian. So.
And Brian, yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
So, Record Hound says, believe and shrink on everything for years, including sports discussions. Blue Jays.
Rob, but I have to say, Rob, I just have to say, the most surprising thing is not that you take the shrink off, but that you throw the hype sticker away too. I find that surprising.
Well, I would say 95% of the cases I do.
Okay.
If it's just like a hype sticker that has like Bon Jovi's new record featuring the new single Legendary, who gives a shit? But if it's like a hype sticker that's like 20th anniversary audio file, 180 gram repress, 17 bonus tracks, and autographed, what like the lists, what's special about it. I'll keep those ones and I just stick it inside the jacket.
All right.
Listen, it makes no sense, but in my brain, it makes sense. Jack, Blue Jays suck. Yes, they do. Go Mariners. Yeah, whatever. The Dodgers scored 7 in the 9th. It's funny. Our we traded Kevin Biggio to the Dodgers, and it only took 3 games, so they started booing him. So I thought that was funny. Nothing says vinyl community like a good hearty baseball rant. Well, you guys asked, and I can't stop myself. What do I love as much as vinyl records? The Blue Jays. So even though they suck, you guys brought it on yourself. You don't want me to talk about baseball. Don't ask me how the Jays are doing. I know there's just shit disturbers are like, let's get Rob going on a rant here. So I appreciate that nonetheless. How about those Phillies? I have no idea. Yes, Willie Mays, rest in peace. He died yesterday. One of the last, true legends of baseball. So that's pretty sad. Oilers are looking good. Alex, I think Anecdotin is better than Stone Rosy because they got more power in their music and not boring.
I am not I'm familiar, but I'm not fully familiarized, I guess, with either of those groups. But I think that assessment would be correct, is that there is probably more power in their music, and therefore maybe not as boring. But I am not I'm not as much in that camp as Steve and Trevor and all of them. So I have not dove into either of those groups as much as I probably should have.
That's fair. I'm going to go next just because Brian brought up something that kind of segues into something I was going to say. Brian's talking about moving his stereo downstairs so that he can listen to things downstairs. I had a little bit of reorganization here too. And this is a big milestone for every record collector when you get to add another Kallax unit.
It's when you hit puberty.
Right? I mean, it was just like, it felt like Christmas, only way better. It was the most exciting thing I had done in months. I have 2 4x2 Kallaxes placed end to end, and they were full. Now I don't have every record section completely jammed. I leave a little bit of room so that
he's saying he's not like you, Brian.
Right. It doesn't look like Brian.
I got it.
Because it's all alphabetical. And if I buy a record that's in the D's, there's no more room. I don't want to have to put that in and then take a couple out and then shuffle every. So that's why I like to leave space through there. But it was for all intents and purposes full. And I'm looking at going, I don't have room for another 4x2. But I'm like, if I buy another 2x2, that's going to hold me over for like another year. And then I'll deal with that problem a year from now. So I went and bought another one. But in order to keep things symmetrical, I had to take the 2 that I've got, I moved them apart and put the 2x2 in the middle because I didn't want it to be like 2, 4, 4. Yeah. So that involved taking all of my records out. which
Oh,
you look
man.
at it, you go, it's not a lot until you have to start moving them. And then it's a lot of work. And by the time I was done, I was covered in sweat, and I was I'm like, holy shit, this is a workout. And now it looks fantastic, except I have a couple of cubes that are empty, and now it bothers me that they're empty. So kind of
Well, you can fix that. Yeah.
So, but anyway, that was the big exciting news at Northern Revolution's World Headquarters this week. A new Kallax has made its way into the music room. So, very exciting. What am I listening to? Well, a few things. I'm going to start off with an Alex-inspired listen. For those that haven't seen it yet, on Father's Day, Alex posted a video on his channel with Brian and I talking about Father's Day. And thank you for doing that, Alex, by the way. That was a really enjoyable video to make. I had a blast. So,
yeah, appreciate you too. Thank you.
Yeah, for those that haven't watched it, go check it out on Alex's channel. Not to steal your thunder or anything, Alex, but all three of us have the sort of shared experience of losing our fathers early in life. And we all lost them around the same time. And so, Father's Day is, maybe a little more reflective than it is for some people. Let's just put it that way. And so Alex came up with the idea for us to get together and talk about, how music relates to our fathers and what it means and that kind of thing. So in that spirit, I've been listening to a lot of stuff that my dad listened to back in the day. And I didn't show this when we did our chat, but I showed it in, did I show it in another video? I don't remember. Maybe. This was my dad's favorite album, Delaney and Bonnie and Friends on tour there at Clapton. This was Dad's favorite record, and he went on and on and on about why this album is fantastic. And this is actually his copy. He wrote his name on the back. And so I listened to this a lot this week, multiple times, just because, it was his favorite record. And then just recently, I picked up Delaney and Bonnie's studio album, Home. And this is one of those craft recordings remastered. I'm not an audiophile, so I don't really give a shit. But it was on clearance at my local record store for like $12 or something like that. So
wow.
I picked it up, and it's fantastic. I didn't look it up, but I think it was recorded a little bit before this, because a lot of the songs that are on the studio album are on the live album. And it's really good. But obviously the live album is vastly superior because it's on stage and you've got Clapton, and it just, there's the ambiance of a live recording in most cases, in my opinion, often transcends that of the studio album. So in the spirit of Father's Day and Alex's video and Dad, I've been listening to some of Dad's favorite records this week. So yeah,
that's awesome.
What about you, Alex?
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I got a few things. The first thing I'll show is that I'm kind of on yes, frequent spins, but also because last night was a concert night and just saw these guys in concert. So I wanted to spend just a couple minutes talking about them. It was my second time seeing them, and was reminded that they just put on a really, really great show, and also picked up a record and all that good stuff. But the band I'm talking about that I've been listening a lot to is took a sleeve off. That's what the professionals do. I don't know if they do that.
I usually do. But
it's Band of Horses. This is their debut. Everything all the time. Really cool band. I think they're out of. Fuck, are they out of? I was about to say like Seattle or something, because I think they were maybe on Sub Pop. They were on Sub Pop. I forget if they're out of Seattle, but they kind of have like a southern thing to it. This is a band I always talk. I'm like, it always confuses me. I know Jason's a big fan of Band of Horses. It always blew my mind that Sam is not I didn't dislike him, but I was like, Sam, this feels like your type of
That's
band.
right up his alley.
It's this indie, folky, great harmonies, singer-songwriter type stuff, great hooks. The singer's got a very sort of high-pitched Americana type of feel to it, a lot of like lap steel, like that type of stuff. So it is very much like Sam St. John music. But this is the great record. I think, for me, their first three records. So I think that was one. These came later. Either Infinite Arms, then Seas to Begin. Their first three are great, really strong. And then I think like their guitarist, I think Tyler Ramsey, he left, but he was one of the main songwriters. They put out a record called like Mirage Rock or something that was like kind of meh. And then another record that was kind of even more meh. And it's sort of been one of those things. And so to me, though, the album that I've always loved and the album that got me and so many other people, and especially if you're an Americana type of fan or whatever, was they put out the live record Acoustic at the Ryman, which, funny enough, this has become like kind of a expensive record. Well, it's like a $7,500 record now, which is kind of wild. But you know, of course, it's in the shrink, Rob, with the hype sticker. You know, because it's not a gatefold.
Grip it and rip it.
But you know, it's, you know, you're not an indie band if you don't have a live show from the Ryman. So, you know, this was, though, for me, like the first thing that really got me into them, really showcased their harmonies and the songwriting and all that type of stuff. But what was cool was, again, after seeing them last night, and I didn't even know this until about an hour before the show. So this came out, I mean, this was 10 years ago or something like that. I mean, that was a long time ago during like the, you know, Hear the Career. I didn't realize that just earlier this year, they released Acoustic at the Ryman Volume 2, which was all the other stuff. No idea. And I believe they're only directly selling this through them. So I think it's only available through the website or at the merch table. So I had to pick this up because it's like the rest of the set. Great stuff again. You know, yeah, awesome stuff. So long story short, it was a great show. Last night, they really do put on a great show. And so I've been listening to a lot of them, just both in preparation and in sort of celebration. But it's kind of funny too, because, you know, their most recent studio album came out 2 years ago. And, you know, in a weird way, it's like, you know how Metallica toured like the Black Album for like 5 years, you know? So like, imagine, you know, Rob, you and I have talked about this of like, when we see a band on tour, we want to buy the album of the, you know, I'm like, I wouldn't buy the Black Album if I saw Metallica on tour in 95, you know, like the album came out 4 years ago. Right. Similarly, their most recent studio album was 2022. It's not the same to me. I'm going to be that guy as a lot of their earlier stuff. So I didn't get that, but I still supported by picking up this volume 2. So yeah, Band of Horses is sort of what's been spinning a lot lately.
Nice, good pick. I've got two of their albums digitally. I can't remember which ones because a buddy of mine that I used to do a lot of record shopping with years ago, he was a huge Band of Horses fan and got me into a couple of their albums. I don't have any on vinyl, but good band to listen to for sure. What are we saying here? Connor McDavid is a man on a mission. His support crew's fallen right into place. Yeah, they certainly have. They did absolutely squat for the first 3 games and appear to have woken up. Let's hope they continue. Go Oilers. When you add another Kallax, an angel gets his wings. I'm going to give that a star, Trevor. That's the comment of the night. Yes. Richard has 4 2x2s and 2 2x2s. Say that 2 times fast. I'm going to step further than my Kallax shelves as I'm adding metal support bars across their backs. That's a good idea, especially if you've got like the 4x4s and 5x5s. They can get a little flimsy. I don't have any concerns about my 2x2s or my 2x4s. So good. Whole panel. Do you guys use catalog Discogs? Yeah, I do.
Yes.
I mean, that's a pretty invaluable resource. I think I don't really care about using it for the value of things, but I'm at the point I can't remember everything that I've got. So when I'm in a record store, I'm like, do I have that?
Yeah.
Pull it up on the phone. So yeah, it's handy. It's the best thing in the world. Labor intensive to get it going though. I mean,
absolutely.
You already have a collection. I mean, that's like a COVID project. That's what I did during lockdown. I'm like, let's catalog everything in Discogs. So
fortunately,
I was actually using Discogs before they even had an app initially. There was an app that would link into Discogs. It was called Crate Digger before Discogs actually had their own app. That's so far I go back with Discogs. But I had sort of half-assed catalog stuff. So King of the VC. Hello. I don't know if I know who the King of the VC is. Do you guys?
What's that person?
Apparently. Well, we are honored by your presence, sir, and humbled. Music Sanctuary says I made the mistake of buying a couple 2x2 Calaxes off Kijiji.
Oh,
Tried to fit them in a two-door Pontiac Sunfire. Good luck, man. Wow. That'd be a two-tripper. Kijiji, for our American friends, is like Craigslist.
Okay.
It's an online marketplace.
Yeah.
we have Craigslist too, which makes it all the more confusing.
Right.
Double the places to look.
Right. I never use Kijiji, but I probably should. I always just use Facebook Marketplace for stuff. But
Yeah.
Richard only has one Band of Horses album. So does Jack. Jeff, how you doing, man? It's been a while. How you
Hey,
keeping?
Jeff.
Mark
Hey, Mark.
Morris, welcome, sir. You love this panel. Well, thank you. We love that you're here.
Mark, I'm still going through my collection here, trying to find the songs about CPAP machines.
Good luck.
I'm sorry, what?
Mark,
He's got
a
that midnight
he was-
sleepless thing, right?
Well, yeah,
I haven't
yeah,
watched it
Fred,
yet.
yeah, but he's just Mark's got the sense of humor that
Yes.
I think people are like, is he serious? And then you get
Right.
to know him more, and you're like, no way. And he still has me rolling on this video. He's talking about,
Hilarious.
songs about nightmares and insomnia and sleeping, or songs about sleep, CPAP machines, and oh my god, it had me going. The comment about the CPAP machines had me going.
I've seen the thumbnail.
only
I haven't
yeah.
watched it yet, but I will. I usually do, but I just haven't got to it yet.
Mark, you're going to have to write a song about a CPAP machine. That's
There you
what's
go.
going to happen.
I'm going to skip Jack's comment because I disagree with that vehemently. Where are we here? You're wasting valuable prep time. For what? I don't know. You're welcome, and we should, but yes, we are humbled that you're here, for sure. Well, a question for me. What do I think of the new wave band, The Stranglers? Have you heard any of their records? Yeah, I've heard a little bit. Not nearly enough to form an intelligent opinion. So I kind of like the little bit that I've heard, but not enough to comment any further than that.
God, they've put out like
On the-
40 records or something, haven't
Yeah.
they?
I was just going to say, I love the
Brian
Stranglers.
probably knows because that's right up your alley.
I have a complete collection up until 10, and then it's sketchy after that, but I do have their last one and some other stuff in the middle. But yeah, great band.
There you go.
Fantastic.
I've probably seen you show it. I mean, I know the name, so I just there are many artists that I need to get into. So Vinyl Sean actually found a CPAP machine song. Good Lord. I might have to cancel your interview, Rob. Cool, man. Whatever. Sorry. Mazzy's a good dude, but he gets way more worship than he. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Mr. Frump in the Iron Lung by Weird Al is the first thing close to a CPAP song before they existed, if that helps. There you go. Rob, I was talking. Oh, okay, I see. He's about to run another expose on me in 20 minutes. There we go. Gotcha. All right, let's go around again. Brian, you get something you're listening to, something that's new?
It's kind of both, but
It doesn't have to. It can be either or nothing at all.
Yeah.
Whatever you.
Well, I should warn you though that there's shrink wrap and a hype sticker involved. So just
This is going to be the catchphrase when they do that video. It's going to be grip it and rip it.
Yeah. So this one came out in late 2023. This is Grian Chatten, Chaos for the Fly, and this might happen to be the record I played most frequently this year. I think this is a phenomenal record. He's from the Fontaines DC, as you can see by the hype sticker. The debut from Fontaines DC, Grian Chatten.
Thank God that there's a hype sticker on there.
Doesn't that help? That
It's
really
so
helps. Right?
much so.
I'll make it a little bigger. Otherwise,
There
you
we
might not
go.
know.
Wow.
Chaos for the Fly. And this, I mean, it doesn't sound like the Fontaines DC if you know them. That's more of a, they've been compared to people like Joy Division. I'm not sure if that's quite right, but it's, kind of like a post-punk thing. But this record is a little more, I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like alt pop, or, well, pop is even maybe the wrong term, but I think this is better than the Fontaines DC. And that's saying something because I love that band. And they put out 3 brilliant records, but this one, I don't know, there's something about it. When I first heard it, I was reminded of a Canadian singer called Mac DeMarco. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I knew Mac DeMarco was absolutely.
Yeah, and it reminded me of him,
Okay.
but not exactly. It's the first thing that occurred to me when I was trying to think of what a comparison might be. But I'm waiting. Well, I don't know if he's going to do any more solo stuff. I hope he does. But this is 2023. I think I got it early 2024, and I think I've listened to this more than any other record so far this year because I think it's really good. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that, I guess.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's awesome.
I guess that makes me next, doesn't it? All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show something that comes with a bit of a rant. Fasten seatbelt. I'm even going to take the sleeve off of this. Brian knows who this guy is.
Yep.
Jim Cuddy, a highly, highly, highly revered songwriter in Canada. This is his new solo album that just came out on Friday called All the World Fades Away. I love Jim Cuddy. I love his solo albums. I listen to this 3 times a day, and I think it's very good. It is exactly what you expect. He doesn't break new ground anymore by any means. It is exactly what you would expect Jim Cuddy to do. Fantastic. Bought it. It's great. Love it. Autographed. Cool. Here's my rant. A very large seam split through the jacket.
Ooh.
The inner sleeve is torn about that much on both sides. The record arrived at my house in a box about this tall and about this wide. Essentially, it would be like 3 pizza boxes. Put that into perspective. And this record was inside, laid on top of a piece of bubble paper, the record, and then another piece of bubble paper on top of it, and many inches of room for the record to move around in the box. And it did that. And it is split. And that really irks me because now, listen, I don't blame Jim Cuddy. He's got a machinery of people behind him. You know, they contract out a company to deal with the merch for a specific album, and they haven't used this particular provider in the past. This is new. But you would think, I mean, his management have made enough of these deals with merch companies to do the distribution that they'd want to deal with a company that's probably done this stuff before. And you'd think one of the first things they would check is if you're sending out a record, are you going to put them in a record mailer? Which they certainly did not. So I took a picture of the damage and I emailed his web store and didn't say, what are you going to do for me? I said, when are you going to send me a replacement? Because I think that's a justified request. I paid $50 for a record that is damaged. I hope I get one. If I don't, it's not the end of the world, but damn it, like it's split right through the spine where the title of the album is. Kind of irks me. Aside from that, really enjoy the record. You know, like I said, it's like everything else that he has put out. So, yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Hopefully, more positive story of something similar. I bought a record recently off Discogs, and the record itself, was I think $14, and so I buy it. I forget how it was. It might have been. It was either labeled as like VG plus, or even might have been near mint with a note of like it was played once or twice, sort of thing. I was good with it. Cool, $14, whatever. And then a guy sends me a message on Discogs and says, "Hey, I just looked. It looks like there's a seam split on the back. Didn't see it before, but just saw it as I'm packing it up. I've gone ahead and refunded you $4. Let me know if you still want it." And I was like, "That sounds great. Like, thanks for catching that. Sounds great. I get it." And it's like the smallest, like, it's less than what Rob just showed, but it was like, I appreciated that. I mean, it's $4. $4 is $4, but just that, hey, just noticed this, like, let me know if you don't want me to do it. I'm more than happy to, take off, discount it another, 33% basically. So, yeah, I was cool with that.
All right.
You want me to go?
Got a few comments here. Where are we? I really need to get that Chatting album. Huge Fontaine's DC fan since the word go.
Yep, definitely.
Jeff, am I going to Jim's Kitchener show? Until a minute ago when I read your comment, I didn't know that there was a Kitchener show. I now see that he's playing Center in the Square, which I absolutely love that venue. So yes, I will be buying a ticket to go to that because I love that. I love his solo stuff. I love Center in the Square. So yeah, absolutely, I'm going to go to that show for sure. It's October, so I got lots of time. Amazon has been known to pull the waybill directly into the record box set. Oh boy, brutal.
That happened to me. Yeah,
Amazon had done that for me before. I haven't bought a ton of records off Amazon, but anything that I've ever got from them was shipped really well. And so I was quite surprised when this is a merch company looking after an artist's release. I just figured it would have come in a mailer. So hopefully they, do right. So, I've been spinning The Other Side, the new album by T-Bone Burnett. How is that? I like T-Bone Burnett. I had some records that were shipped shoddily in some warped box and still to withstand a nuclear war. Yeah, give me those ones. That's what I like. Thankfully, I've had very, very few. I think this is maybe only the second record I've ever bought online that was damaged, and the first one now resides at Alex's house, which is that Dirty Honey record.
That's right. That's where it all
Those are
began.
the only two. So I mean, I'm fortunate. So
in fact, if they didn't send you that damaged record, I wouldn't have.
You wouldn't be on YouTube.
That's right.
So we've got to thank Dirty Honey and their shoddy shipping for
right.
the hours of entertainment Alex provides everybody.
Thank you.
Music Sanctuary. I've had enough new records and the quality from shipping depressing. In 2024, I've never had so many warped records. Yeah, there's a lot of those lately. I've been finding those too. Even forked out $300 for a record pie flattener. How do those work? I'm curious. I've seen some videos online that allege they work well. That's San Andreas' fault is less than what Rob just showed. Yeah, I'm a little miffed.
Geology joke.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. Center in the Square is gorgeous and a super underrated venue. Yeah, I love Center in the Square. Have you ever been to Center in the Square, Brian?
Yes, but I don't remember why. It's kind of a strange answer.
It's a theater venue. They do plays and orchestras and rock concerts. And I think it's like a 2,500 or 3,000 seat theater venue. Absolutely, hands down, my favorite venue I've ever seen a concert at. And I've probably been to 50 shows there at this point in time because it's 15 minutes from my house and parking is easy. And it's a great venue. So anytime I get to see an artist, and all the artists that I listen to play there, because all the artists I listen to are like theater sized. I mean, they're not like Rogers Center, like stadium kind of acts. So I'm thankful that Center in the Square is so close by. It's great. Love it. Not a bad seat in the house. The acoustics are outstanding. I don't believe in grading records. I believe in describing records. No confusion there. Yeah, that's fair. I agree.
Yeah. I love when you start telling people who get into this hobby that a record that is labeled as very good is actually not very good at all. No. And in fact, something that is good plus is pretty awful.
It's pretty awful. Yep.
It's like
at least record graders are optimistic, right?
Like me on dating app, it's like people have described me as VG plus,
I'm G at best.
For sure.
All right.
That's better than fair.
I'll listen to that T-Bone Burnett album online and see what I think of it. So, Billy Joel, where's Mirror's Music Talk with John? His spidey sense will pick up and he'll be jumping on here because he just heard the word Billy Joel. I got Billy Joel's Abridged CD from his cellar and it was supposed to be a remaster, but it was the original and they made a mistake. So they refunded my CD price and it didn't matter. It's a DDD CD. Well, at least they refunded. So, geology jokes. I get it. I took geology in university. I'm good. The record pie works fantastic. Okay, cool. He's fixed 7 albums so far. and it's paid for itself after 3. Good to know. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm ever gonna see. Didn't I just say you say the word Billy Joel and Music Talk with John pops up? Wow. Welcome, John. You must have heard all the way from Florida. We say the word Billy Joel. John, if you want to jump up here and join us, let me know. I'll throw up the link for you. I think you're next, aren't you, Alex?
Yeah. So this is a new arrival. I think the record just came out last Friday, so about 5 days ago. Something I've been looking forward to. It was one of those pre-orders that I kind of forgot about.
Well, that's always nice.
Sort of situations. Now, here's what I run into, and I realize that most of my rants are, it's like me like whining on the yacht sort of thing. Like, am I really complaining about this problem I have in this stupid ass hobby that we just throw money at?
Hold on, let me give you the soapbox. Here you go.
Yeah. So
rant away.
There's a little bit of a story here with the records in conjunction with the music itself, and that is, when you two are also, Rob, you've talked a lot too, and I don't know how it's been for you, Brian, but up in Canada, I know that when an artist, I guess depending on where the artist is or where their headquarters are, right? Like, who knows if they're going to ship up there, what that shipping looks like, what's available to you, what's not available to you, all that other stuff. And for me too, I've talked about this before, of like, I typically don't pre-order stuff from the artist because in my head, it's the Taylor Swift syndrome, right? It is here are these exclusive, and I don't just say it because it's her. A lot of people do it. Here are these exclusives that you can only get from me. And then a month later, they're in every record store. They're on Amazon, and you can buy them day of. Meanwhile, you're still waiting for your pre-order to arrive,
which you've paid more for, and you've paid shipping, and
right. And somebody help me with this too. Damn you, capitalism! Sorry, I said it.
Preach, brother, preach.
I don't know. I'm like talking to the Canadians, but like, help me understand these places that are charging $12 for media mail. You fucks,
come to Canada.
Well, at least in the US, media mail to ship one record is like $5.42.
If you told Brian and I that we could ship a record for $12, we'd do cartwheels thinking we won the lottery.
So, but what's funny though is like that, Stan, you buy anything on Discogs, you buy anything for anybody, like a lot of people still just say like up to 6 records, it's $6. Because
holy cow.
To put it into perspective,
and then it's semi by weight, but it's mostly, it's anything that is media, you can ship, right? And so
Brian lives an hour away from me, right? An hour west of me. He's in Toronto. I'm not. If I were to take a record and take it to Canada Post, which is supposed to be the most economical shipping, and I pick ground shipping without tracking, snail service, which could be like 5 business days to go an hour, I'm willing to bet it would cost me over $20 to ship Ryan a record.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily. Maybe 25.
Yeah. I was going to say 25.
Yeah.
Well,
so $12, I'd be shipping. I'd be like Santa Claus with the VCLT. Let's go.
I was gonna say, this is like the only like social program-ish sort of thing that the US does better than it's like, but it's like, but our media mail, but so that's the thing. It's like the baseline's $5. You can ship up to 6 records for about $6. So
Jeff's laughing. He lives 20 minutes away from me the other way. He's laughing. Same thing.
But it's so funny the amount of people, it's like you buy from plenty of people that, for example, like Acoustic Sounds, they ship everything FedEx like next day or 2 day, I think, right? So like, and most, if you spend over a certain amount, you get free shipping. But it's like Dylan at Noble Records, like you buy from most of these places, they're shipping a media mail, they're charging you $6 for it or whatever. But there's a lot of these places now, they're like select media mail, and it's $12. And you're like, no. Like, if you're going to ship this, you're going to FedEx this, you're going to UPS this, or you're going to like overnight this or next day, whatever, charge them $12. I know how much media mail costs to send one record. Anyway, that's my rant. The point is, this is the other thing that happened. Okay, so it's a website exclusive. Depending on the band, and I kind of, you win some, you lose most, as you boys know. If it is truly a web store exclusive, that is something, if I like the band enough and I think it's cool enough, I might do. Now, one of the most recent examples Sam and I have talked about this a lot, was the Avett Brothers. They released a great, I think it's a great new record, and they had a bunch of different versions. You got a Barnes & Noble version, you got an indie store exclusive, you got the dreaded Amazon exclusive. You know, it's like, imagine being like Amazon has their own specific color, all these different things. And then they had the web store exclusive, and it was like red. You know, okay, cool. If you love red, go get it. But like, I need some splatter in that ass, right? Like, I need something. Like, give me something.
A plain color is just boring now.
One plain color, right? Like, I need this thing weird and
up.
wacky. So here's what happened. I end up pulling the proverbial trigger, which ended up being, you know, it's a $40 record. It's $12 shipping. You put tax on, you know, this ended up being like a 50 so whatever amount purchased. But I got the new record from the Decemberists. That came out. This is As It Ever Was, So It Will Be Again. I kind of fell off the Decemberists a little bit over their last several albums. But months and months ago, when they released the first single from this record, and it was 19 minutes long, I'm in it. I'm in it, boys. I'm back in, right? Like, they do sort of fall in this weird range of like indie, folky, prog. If someone were to tell me the Decemberists were a prog band, I'd be like, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, they are certainly like this progressive, you know, they're definitely more a progressive type of band than a prog band. But yeah, the joke is side 4, Joan in the Garden, 19 minutes and 20 seconds. And I listened to that track and I was like, I'm into this. I'm into it. If you know what I mean, if it was just like a random single, I probably wouldn't have bought it, but I pre-ordered it. And this is on the Decemberist exclusive 2LP on wood colored vinyl with limited edition card and lyric book.
That would be more impressive if it was actually on wood.
On wood, sir. So here's the thing. I did not open this. This is not opened yet. Why is it not opened yet? Because about 3 weeks ago, do y'all follow or know Newberry Comics?
Yeah.
Out of the Northeast?
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what their deal is, but like they get some cool like exclusive things that pop in for like a second. And one of their announcements was, hey, y'all, we received a limited number of the new Decemberist records. They're for sale right now, $40 or whatever. That's autographed by the band.
Is it
so I was vinyl? These motherfuckers. You know, it's like, damn it, they got me again. These fuckers got me again. So
is it wood colored vinyl though? So
no, it's not wood because this is, since it's Newberry Comics, this is the indie store version on Plum. No, it is. Actually, I think this is pretty good. They call this Fruit Punch.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll call it Fruit Punch too. So
what I think you should do, so we can get some ratings, you got to take that sealed one, grip it and rip it, tear that shrink to shred, and show us your wood. I mean, your wood vinyl.
Show us your wood. That's a thread right there. Show us your wood.
There you go. Let's do it. We'll open it up, man.
So that's the long-winded sort of nonsense. The record itself, I really like. It's DJ Vinyl Vertigo. Scott did a kind of a review on it and mentioned that it's a lot of themes about, you know, time and loss and grief and very happy things, which to me, like Sad Decemberist is my favorite Decemberist. And so, there's that. I do love the Joan in the Garden 19-minute track. It's great. There's a lot of stuff on here that's very dark and moody, which I appreciate. I really like, but I don't know is for everybody if you're coming from like a, you know, drained by the water, you know, sort of side of the Decemberist. So there's that. But I'm really liking it. I'm really glad to have it. I wouldn't know what I'm going to do with the wood. You know, I never know what to do with my wood, truthfully. So we'll see what that equals, but it's a great record, and I guess I got 2 of those copies. So
very cool.
Wow.
Look who's joining us, Mr. Australia himself, Ben Rankins. How you doing, sir?
You know what? I did not mention that at all.
Sorry I missed you, Ben. I was looking forward to it, but work came up last week and got to pay the mortgage. I'm glad you guys had fun, though.
Yeah, it was a great time.
That's cool. Where are we here? Trevor's saying Rhino is notorious for shitty timing on their pre-orders. Yeah, that's always burns my ass, whether it's Rhino or anybody. You pre-order something, the album comes out, and you wait 3 weeks for it to show up. Or the record ships on the day of the pre-order. Well, what? That bugs me. I always feel like I'm missing out. I bought it before everyone else, but I don't have it till later. So it's got to be something special for me to pre-order it. It's weird. I've had pre-orders from Bandcamp show up a week before the release date and pre-orders direct from the label showing up a month late. Yeah, me too, Richard. That happens a lot. Music Sanctuary, I will say my Rhino Sabbaths came from California, a big box with styrofoam corners and paper packaging. You charge a flat rate of $15.99. Good Lord. No other brokerage or duties. Wow, you lucked out, man. Took 6 weeks from the drop date to arrive here. Well, that's kind of shitty. So it's Ben saying, I'm sure Brian, he's a huge fan, has already mentioned the momentous news of the Saints. I'm stranded. Upcoming box set and tour with Mark Arm on Vox. You have any comments on that, Brian?
Just to say that that Ben was very excited about this. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting. But I did not mention it. Maybe I should have. I did not mention it, but it's happening, apparently. Do I have to buy it? I guess I have to buy it now, right?
Well, Ben's shaming into it. Geez, Brian, no Saints stock? So he's shaming you.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad.
Well, rightfully so. You had something else to show us, Brian?
Yeah, well, I'll just follow up with what Alex said. And that's, the funny thing is I've never...
You're going to run and grab a beverage while you guys talk.
Yeah. I have never pre-ordered anything because of shipping. We talked about Canadian shipping. And for example, I was looking at the new John Cale record, which I can get probably tomorrow if I want, around $40. But they have a special edition with a bonus 7-inch single. But when I calculated that out and in their shopping cart, it was like almost $100 or $85 or something ridiculous like that. So there's no way I'm doing that. But I guess we'll move on. So in my pile, there are 4 records that I didn't choose because I had a couple of friends drop by recently, and in the congested space that I now inhabit here. And so they yelled out records that they wanted to hear, and I guess just to see if I had them. And this came up already. So the Stranglers, and someone mentioned the Stranglers. Here's the Stranglers. How do you pronounce this? Radis Norvegicus? I don't know. The record that has 2 titles, Stranglers 4 and Stranglers the rat. Whatever the rat that is. So we played this. Yeah, and this is, the funny thing, this came out in 1977, and I've listened to this many times, but the last time I listened to this was, I don't remember the last time I listened to this, but I was reminded of how great this record is. And if you know the Stranglers, you'll know that kind of like a punk band, but they have a keyboard player, which is really set them apart from other acts around the time, at least in my opinion.
There's a lot of people, not to interrupt, but the Stranglers aren't my radar because there's a lot of people, they have a ton of progressive elements in there.
Yeah.
In a lot of their stuff. I mean, what was the, what's the one with like the crow? Isn't there one with like a crow on it called like a crow or something? Or
the Raven? The Raven.
So wrong avian variety. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And anyway, this is I was happy to pull this up because sometimes I think if you have records, choosing something to listen to is sometimes a challenge. Like, what am I going to listen to? It's like, do I want to listen to this? Someone else gives you an idea, and then you're like, yeah, that's I wouldn't have thought of playing that. I never would have pulled this one out. But of course, this is a great album because it has like, Peaches is on here, Hanging Around, Get a Grip, Down in the Sewer. Great record. And so, yeah, I was happy to hear that. So
I need to, we don't see a ton of their stuff over here, but like I said before, their discography is vast, right?
Yeah.
They were one of these bands that was like putting out a record every year, weren't they?
I think, and every time I'm in a record store, I always look in the Stranglers section if there is one, or the S section, and they're not always easy to find. So I have never seen I don't think I've seen a vintage copy of this for years. So, or any of them really, except for Oral Sculpture, maybe in Dreamtime, they don't really come up.
Yeah.
So. And, they're still touring, but only with one original member. Like J.G. Brunel is the only guy still with the band who's original, which is, interesting. But,
yeah. I'll have to keep an eye out for more of their stuff and look a little bit more intensely. The only post punk and that sort of stuff is such a I want to be better with. Basically, it's just such like a blind spot for me. I have the it's over there, but the I don't know if you saw this actually, Brian. You would probably love it. Is Steven Wilson did a comp box set last year or the year before called Intrigue, and it's 6 or 7 LPs maybe of I think what he calls is like progressive sounds of like 77 to 83 or something. So it's basically it's a lot of the Talk and Ultravox and Stranglers and The Cure and like I think Cardiacs are thrown in there. Like, it's a lot of that type of stuff that I think a lot of people would just be like, oh, it's post-punk. But again, for like some proggy people, it's like, oh no, there's a lot more going on here than just sort of, the Human League.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people show that box. The Human League is interesting because their first stuff is quite different from their early stuff is quite different from the later stuff. But
do you have that box?
I don't. I've seen people show it. I looked it up. I didn't buy it, but it looks interesting.
Well, he's pulling that. Ben makes the point. Try living in Australia. Speaking of international shipping, yeah, I can only imagine. All you need to do is spend thousands on an airplane. Yeah. I can imagine how crazy your shipping is. Let me make Alex big here.
Yeah, so this is the Intrigue box here. I mean, it's a great box. It's 7 LPs. It's got your what I appreciate, and there's a great booklet in here where he does like a track by track sort of breakdown, because there's a lot of stuff, it's like some of the obvious stuff that people have heard. There's no obvious songs. There are some obvious bands, but there's a lot of deeper stuff too. But it's great going anywhere from Simple Minds to Joy Division to, even, Kate Bush, New Order, Magazine. It's like a lot of these types of bands that's, David Sylvian and Japan stuff. I mean, that's another thing. I think I left a comment on one of your videos, Brian, about like Japan. I mean, they're a band that I've always appreciated, but I more know Japan from Richard Barbieri doing Porcupine Tree. So, it's like even that I have like the prog kind of influence there. But I need to spend a little bit more time with this too, because there's just so much stuff on here that, 7 records. So, there's a lot on here, but
you should rip the shrink off of that.
Like, you have to keep the
hype sticker.
No, you don't. You rip the shrink off, cut the hype sticker, and just stick it in one of the records.
And I got to tell you, this is my favorite thing. And he made a joke about this. Steven Wilson's a lot of things. His sense of humor is a little bit different, though. It's very British. But I, of course, got whatever the limited thing was that comes with a signed Steven Wilson print. And he's sitting there going, why am I signing a print in a record that I'm not even on? Just because he curated the box. And so he's like, oh, I guess I'll do a signed print. So it's funny.
Do you know if is that still in print or still available? I think I looked it up.
Great question. I am not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think I saw the CD version somewhere, but not.
Yeah, I think the CD. Yeah, they definitely did a number of different versions. I think they.
Glenn bought it and talked about it ad nauseum for weeks on end.
Who did?
Oh, did he?
Glenn.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did talk. Yeah,
remember that old guy that we used to do a live stream with
back in those days?
Back in the days.
Yeah,
our founding father.
Yeah.
I guess that makes me up next. I'm going to commit a cardinal sin of the vinyl community that will probably get me kicked out and ostracized and whatever. But I am going to show a record that is mainstream.
No.
Yeah, it's like we're talking like top 40 radio stuff. So I hope no one's too offended. I know I lose all my credibility as a music fan because how dare you like something that's mainstream and popular, but fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. And this comes with a rant and a tidbit of controversy. So, and a very cool looking record. So it's got lots to talk about. So I bought the new Bon Jovi record because I have no problems admitting I love Bon Jovi. Right? No different than liking Def Leppard, right? So for those that are snobbing, you can't like a mainstream band. Fuck you. Yes, you can. I was intrigued by this because, the documentary was great. And, what I loved about the documentary, John is very candid about all the troubles he went through vocally. So I was kind of curious to hear how this sounded and how his voice sounded. His voice sounds pretty good. Maybe not as strong as it used to be. And obviously it isn't, because he said he won't tour until he can sing 2 hours a night, 4 nights a week. So, but I love Bon Jovi, and I especially love Bon Jovi since Richie left, because I really liked Phil X as a guitar player. So, the album is okay. Is it their worst? No. Is it their best? No. It's kind of middle of the road. I mean, it's not nearly as good as, say, Slippery When Wet or New Jersey. But, enjoyable. I liked it. But what was cool, the record is neat. It's half clear, half black.
Wow.
Which I thought was kind of cool. Half clear, half black.
That's dope. Yeah.
Kind of neat.
Yeah, usually, I mean, you see like a lot of white and black, but you don't see a lot of clear and black. Yeah.
Right?
That's cool.
This was the Amazon exclusive.
It was the Amazon exclusive. Oh.
The Amazon exclusive. So here's my rant. I went to order it off Bon Jovi's website because you could get it autographed. And it was this cool web exclusive, signed, and it's this cool, like, aquamarine teal or whatever the fuck they called it. So I'm like, cool. I went online to buy it. Available for U.S. residents only. And I'm like, well, that sucks. But I thought to myself, I have friends in the vinyl community, and I think I mentioned this to Alex. I just texted Chance because I already had his address, and I'm like, can I ship this to your house? He's like, anytime, no problem. So I order it, ship it to his house. Instruct the web store to ship it to his house. Get my order confirmation, and that's all here, right? I'm like, cool. And then release day comes along, and it passes, and another day passes, and I'm like, I'm just wondering where this is. I'm going to check the tracking. So I go on and I check the tracking, and it says, your order has been canceled. And I'm like, you motherfuckers, if you're going to cancel my order, send me an email saying we have canceled your order. I'm sure it was because I paid with a Canadian credit card, even though it was going to a U.S. address. If that's what it was, fine, that's what it was. Kind of pissed me off. They didn't handle it very well. Turns out, though, silver lining, kind of dodged a bullet, because the controversy that has emerged this week is it has been proven that those autographed copies were auto pen autographs.
Wow.
So I guess I didn't lose out after all.
Wow.
That's so weird.
Shame on John Bon
and he's
Jovi
not touring either. Oh, man.
Well, that's the thing, right? Shame on John for letting that happen. If he's trying to prove to the fan base that he can still sing, and he, kind of wants their goodwill, because you're asking the fans to invest in some goodwill, right? I'm not going to tour for it, but I still want you to buy the record.
Not only can he not sing, he can't fucking write anything either, apparently,
So whatever.
What in the Bob Dylan is going on here?
What in the Bob Dylan is going on? So, needless to say, I'm still glad I have the record because, I have many of their albums. There you go.
I don't have any Bon Jovi. Are you surprised?
That doesn't surprise me because it's mainstream and you're not allowed to like mainstream.
Rob, I don't even have,
I have some mainstream
or Slippery When Wet. I don't got anything.
Good record. But I mean, it's a good record for 1983, right? But I mean, it's still enjoyable to, I put it up there kind of like in the same, in my mind, it kind of holds the same place that like Pyromania or Hysteria does, right?
I've always thought it was fascinating that they never toured together.
Right?
Yeah, and I know Joe and John are like good friends, but like I've always thought like they would be the perfect touring partners.
Absolutely. And even to this day, I think they'd still be good together.
Oh,
because they have both matured very well, I think.
They would do the stadium thing and all that kind of stuff. What's Bad Medicine on?
I think that's Slippery When Wet.
Is it on Slippery When Wet? Okay.
Pretty sure. I think that has
I still fuck when that song comes on. I
think that has Bad Medicine, You Give Love a Bad Name, and Wanted Dead or Alive. I think are the three that
Living on a Prayer too, right?
Let me find out. Let's settle this once and for all.
Bad medicine's what I need. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Shake it up. What do you mean you don't like that shit, Brian?
It's okay. I mean, I just never bought any. So what can I say?
Oh, no. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Here you
I'm
go.
not done.
It's on classic rock radio. So if my car is tuned to it, I will hear it.
Here's the hits off of here. You give love a bad name, living on a prayer, wanted dead or alive, and I'd die for you. For the hits off Slippery When Wet.
Okay, so it might have been off New Jersey or
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, like, this is kind of, like, I think of it kind of in the same, with the same reverence that I do Hysteria and Pyromania. It's that 80s cheesy hair, band kind of stuff, but still good to listen to. So, yeah. All right. A few comments here. Whereabouts was I? Let's see here. I got Raven for too long. All right. We're about here somewhere. Some Raven copies have a cool lenticular or some kind of fancy cover. That's cool.
True.
You don't see many lenticular covers. I've got a Sgt. Pepper one that has it, but even Hugh Cornwell solo album Wolf is interesting. I've ordered a few albums from Australia where the label of the band had some U.S. courier connection to reduce shipping by a lot. That's the problem here. Some record stores are carrying the Analog Productions ATL 75th RPM, 45 RPM, and are selling for 90 plus taxes. That's insane. And the UHHQRs go for 250. MoFi one steps are 170. I don't understand paying $250 for a record. But then again, I'm not an audiophile and I'm not smart enough. So if that's your jam, I'm glad you enjoy it, but that's crazy, I think. I wish it worked out the other way, Richard. There's a record store here that has a relationship with, in the red, Castle Face and a bunch of other U.S. indies, which keeps the prices okay.
Ben, I showed a record on my recent May Editions video of a band, instrumental soul band that's on Coal Mine now from Melbourne. So they're named Karate Boogaloo. So
I'm giving Mr. Rankins the star here because he agrees with me on Shrink. Grip it and rip it.
Yeah, he's not talking about records.
Maybe. John showed a Richard Marx album on Chance's show last week.
Yeah.
I'm sure that went over like a turd in a punch bowl.
Oh, man.
I have a half blue, half clear Amel and the Sniffers. I don't know them, but that's a fantastic name. I love that. The Sniffers. Half blue, half clear. Very cool. And to the point I said earlier, don't just give me like a color. That's boring now. Do something cool. Give it splatter. Give it fucking stripes. Make it glow in the dark. Make it two colors squished together. Give me something.
Aren't there some that are some records have something? Wasn't there one record that had blood in the middle?
Wasn't that like a Kiss record or something?
I'm not sure who it was.
No, it was like, was it Motley Crue?
I can't remember.
They do a blood one.
I have a glow in the dark record.
One of my favorite bands that Brian, Whitehorse, they did their album Strike Me Down, which was their psychedelic album. They did a clear one that had fluid in it, and they only did 50 of them. And I own the regular pressing because the limited one is still for sale in their web store. It's like $175. And while I love Whitehorse, I'm not spending $175 because a record's got liquid in the middle. Not doing it. I think everyone hates the auto pen thing, James. I think the person that invented the auto pen should have it shoved in their eye socket.
Yeah.
Music in the House is holding out for the Japanese Slippery When Wet best cover. Yes, I've been looking for one of those for a while. That's the girl in the bikini, and it was banned anywhere other than Japan. So those are rather sought after. One of these days I'll get one. I mean, you can get them on eBay if you want to pay. I haven't decided that I want to pay that much yet. James has a signed Olivia Rodrigo LP insert that I'm very suspicious of. She clearly signed some on video, but I have my doubts. Yeah, I mean, you got to sign hundreds or thousands or whatever. I'm sure it gets monotonous, but don't offer it if you're
Yeah,
not
but
going to do
it's
it.
like signatures probably signatures always are. I mean, it's not like they're taking time to write out their name. It's like a fucking squiggly. It's just
Right?
like they could do it in their sleep.
I mean, use the example. I have multiple Taylor Swift signatures that I bought from her web store because she always does signs versions of the albums. And my wife has a couple as well. So we'll have the same album signed on a few instances. And every single one I've ever seen, the signature is always different. Like it doesn't look.
Oh.
So I'm relatively sure that she's signing all of her stuff. But if you're not going to actually do it, don't make it available. It's that simple.
So she's signing, but is she lip syncing, as some people suggest?
I think there has to be a backing track to a lot of that stuff because on many of the songs, especially the newer stuff, she's got 4 and 5 different vocal tracks in some of the songs. So yeah, I don't think she's lip syncing, but she can't be singing 4 different parts at the same time. So
true. Yeah.
FRS, that is hilarious. I've seen them a couple times. Music Sanctuary, good for me, Rob, and Bon Jovi should have stated on the album that it was an auto pen signed. Yeah, but then no one's going to buy it, right? So just don't offer it at all, I think. Well, I'm sure Bon Jovi's going to care what I think, though, of course. We did that. New Jersey has Bad Medicine. You're right. I don't have that one, and I'm still on the hunt for it. But Brian is so diplomatic. Yes, he is. He's the one with the etiquette out of this group of individuals.
Really?
Karate Boogaloo. I don't know them, but I'll check them out.
Yeah, I don't know if it's up your lane. I just know that all things Australian and Melbourne. But yeah, this is the record here. Cool.
He does know all things Australian because he's the Northern Revolutions of Australia.
Yeah.
Or as I like to say, I'm the Ben Rankins of Canada.
Perfect. Yeah. But yeah, they're on College of Knowledge. I don't know. I'll have to do some more research on what that label is, but co-released with College of Knowledge. Name of the record is Hold Your Horses from Coal Mine. So yeah.
Music Sanctuary did by one UHQR, Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. It sounded pretty good. Yeah, well, that's always my question. Is it worth $250? Who knows? Metallica literally put Load on their cover. Yeah. The Sean Lennon signature on the Imagine box was auto pen. Jesus. Ben digs Funk and Soul. Richard has several albums signed by Bob Mould. Very distinctive signature. Looks like BMD. Such a cool guy to talk with. That's awesome. I think we're at you now, Alex, aren't we?
Okay, yeah, because yours came with the ring. Okay. Next for me, so I you guys been doing this a long time. We specialize in the rabbit holes. It's what we do. I think in a lot of ways, I think it keeps the hobby fresh, right? Like you find these Rob, it was like when you rediscovered like The Boss, right? It was I gotta go back in time now, right? Like I got so it's like it does keep things fresh in a sense when you go down the rabbit hole. And that's why like I look at my collection and say like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here maybe I don't listen to right now, but I listened to it a lot during one period of my life, and I think that might come back around, all those different things. So I think the rabbit holes are always going, and just we're always doing our research or find new things that fascinate us. I mean, that was the whole thing with the coal mine stuff and all that. In a similar vein, I've become I think more yeah, right. I've become more cognizant and appreciative of quote unquote local music, right? Not like, oh, I support the local band down at the dive, but more bands from Ohio or especially if they're from where I grew up, right? That maybe they didn't completely blow up and sell out arenas, but people in the area loved them. They were huge in that local scene, all those different things. And there's all this like history there that is sort of being unpacked and all that type of stuff. So specifically, I'm going to talk about the kind of rock and roll scene of the early to mid 70s in Youngstown, Ohio, which actually had a pretty vibrant music scene. One of my, and it's leading up to, I have an interview on my channel that's coming up in July that I'm really excited about. But one of my favorite bands from that sort of area is a band called Blue Ash. This is their debut and their only major release. This was on Mercury Records. This is No More, No Less, I think from 74-ish. This is like as good as it gets, like mid 70s power pop, hard rock type stuff. I mean, this is absolutely amazing. They released this one record. They were really popular across the Midwest. So Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, New York, especially Western New York, even down into West Virginia. But then they were cut from their label. A few years later, they released this. This is Front Page News from 77 on Playboy Records. And then they sort of, that was kind of it for them in terms of like studio output is concerned.
So what you're saying, sorry to interrupt, is you went down an ash hole.
That's good. That's not bad.
Right.
I'm here all night, folks.
Yeah.
Or at least
for another half hour or so. But you know, and so what's cool though in the interview is actually with like the founding member and one of the lead songwriters of Blue Ash. I'm really excited for. But actually, you know, it started getting me thinking of, wait a minute. I knew there was some cool like reissue stuff that came out of bands from Youngstown. I started thinking about a lot of the reissues that Dylan down at Noble Records doesn't do the reissues yet. He will when he has his label, but he does a lot of Noble Record exclusive color variants of reissues that a lot of other labels are doing. And one of the most popular ones that they did was from a band called Poobah. There's a record called Let Me In. And again, this was just awesome, like early 70s hard rock out of Youngstown. And just as amazing stuff. You know, originals of this go for multiple hundreds, if not thousands of dollars types of stuff. And so it's cool that they have like these archival reissues. And then I found out that actually up in Youngstown, there is a label that's been around since the 70s called Peppermint Records or Peppermint Recordings. And they have been in Youngstown, been around for a while, but they are now working with the artists of that time to release a lot of archival stuff, whether it's unreleased tracks, whether it's comps, whether it's live records, whatever that is. And so the most recent one I picked up was from a band called Left End. Similar, we're talking here early to mid 70s. They kind of definitely fell hard rock, more in like glam rock type era though. I mean, they would probably more be closer to like what Alice Cooper band or the Alice Cooper group is doing in the early 70s. But again, a super cool comp of a bunch of unreleased stuff. This was from 72 to 81. It came with like this bonus like collector 7-inch sort of thing. Got it off Bandcamp. First time ever ordering anything off Bandcamp. And so, yeah, I'm like really digging a lot of this stuff and sort of going back in time, so to speak. And a lot of these bands that, again, never really blew up, but the people sort of regionally go, oh yeah, like I remember those guys, or oh yeah, they were huge, you know, around us, sort of thing. So I've been really going into the rabbit hole of a lot of that type of stuff over the last several weeks.
Cool. What's the folks saying here? Brian, what do you think of Vandergraaf Generator, and what do you think is their best album?
Those are two questions I can't answer because I actually don't have any Vandergraaf Generator, and I've heard bits of it.
Just say Pawn Hearts, Ryan. Brian, just say Pawn Hearts.
Pawn Hearts. How about that? Is that a surprise? I don't have any. I just never.
I'm always surprised when you say when you don't have something.
There's lots I don't have.
Judging by what's behind you, that always surprises me. Jason's in the house. How you doing, sir? And he's saying hi to Ben, and Ben's going great. He's on a train. When John wants to fight people about ZZ Top, I don't know why.
It's funny. Blue Ash is a city in Ohio outside of Cincinnati, but they are from Cincinnati is the southwest of the state, and Youngstown is the far northeast of the state. So it's interesting. There's a Blue Ash, Ohio, but it is not where the band is from.
Ben's got to go. We just pulled in Penn Station. So cool to catch us live. Behave yourself, Brian, and don't give up. All my skeletons in the closet that you know.
I was just going to go on about all the skeletons in Ben's closet.
He won't know though because he's not going to watch us now, and he never catches us live anyway. So he'll never know. No one will tell him. It's not like this is going to live on the internet forever. Well, we could go around the horn one more time. We got 30 minutes left. So, wow, it's Brian. What do you got?
Yeah, I pulled out too many records to talk about, so I'm going to skip ahead because I had a bunch of records that I listened to in my house recently with a couple of friends. But I'm going to pull out something maybe only Rob will know this band because the second record I played after I brought my turntable down was oddly this record from Boot Sauce.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know this, Rob.
Of course.
And I was like, and I thought. Yeah, this is from 1990, a weird Canadian band out of Montreal. They're from Montreal, right? This is their first record. This was their second record was perhaps a little more well known because it seemed to me that no matter where you went, every used record or CD shop had like 10 copies of the second Boot Sauce record, and then Bull, I think it was called, and they had a great track with Lemmy called Touching Cloth. But this one, I kind of forgot how funky it is. It has that first track, the Salacious Let's Eat Out, and then Scratching the Hole, Everyone's a Winner. And it had been, I think I haven't listened to this since probably 1991 or something, because it was played to death, and I totally, put it on the shelf, and it doesn't have any liner notes or anything. Just this weird cover with this this kind of thing happening. But
cool.
Kind of an interesting Canadian band that maybe is forgotten about now from the 90s, early 90s.
I had forgotten about them. That's a name I haven't thought about in probably 30 years.
Yeah. So I don't know I don't think it was punched out here. I guess it was remaindered. So I don't think this is I've never seen one looking for records since then. So I don't know if it's rare, but I don't think it's worth money. So yeah, it's just, I guess it was just something, I want to hear something funky just to see if my speakers were working properly. And yeah, I think I need new speakers.
Jason lives in Ottawa, and he's not heard of Boot Sauce. That's surprising. Because for those who don't know, Ottawa is only an hour from Montreal, which is where we think Boot Sauce is from. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I think their best track is the one they did with Lemmy from Motorhead called "Touching Cloth." That song, that's a killer song.
I don't think it was Lemmy from Hawkwind, Brian.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, you're right. Good points.
Just
but it sounds like Motorhead. Maybe that's why I said. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whoever, whatever. So yeah, that'll be. I guess that's that.
All right, I'm gonna show a couple then, quickly. Both of these are bands Brian will know. And in fact, I think we talked about this briefly a few weeks back, Brian. I finally found the Beaches. Finally.
Great. Yeah.
They have several albums, but this is the most recent one. They just won, was it Rock Group of the Year at the Junos, I think? I think it was Rock Group of the Year.
Could be right. Yeah.
Or Rock Album of the Year, something like that. The Beaches have been around for, maybe like 15 years. They had a previous name before they were called the Beaches, and I can't remember what that was, but they're kind of like the thing now, and they're awesome. They're obviously all-girl rock band, and it's kind of like it's power pop rock, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. And they're in the midst of touring all over the world. They did the talk shows like, Kimmel and those kind of things a few months back. They're going to be opening for the Rolling Stones in the States. Just fantastic. So I've been looking for this for a while.
What's the big hit on there, Rob?
What's that?
What's the big hit on there?
It's called Blame My Ex. Oh, sorry. The album is called Blame My Ex. The song is called Blame Brett.
Correct.
And it's not the best song on the album by any means, I think. There are a lot of other just phenomenal records. This is the indie store exclusive on blue vinyl. So,
Yeah, so they're from up by you, yeah, Rob?
Yeah, they're from Toronto.
Yep.
Yeah. It's two sisters and they're friends. They're great band. Love them. They're fantastic. So I think that album's been out for almost a year now, and I could have pre-ordered it or whatever, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna find it at a store eventually, and I finally found it over at Encore Records in Kitchener, Ontario, which is great. And this is an album. Oh boy, am I excited that this album actually exists, and it was released without any fanfare whatsoever. A new album by the Sadies, which thrilled.
Yeah.
So the Sadies are a band from Toronto. They're kind of, the most common description I hear of them, they're kind of like the Cosmic Cowboys. Is kind of, they dress like cowboys, but they play rock, definitely. But they play a lot of like weird cosmic-y kind of trippy stuff, and they are incredibly versatile musicians. And they were the backing band for Nico Case for a while, and they did a blues album with Andre Williams, and they did an album with John Langford, and they did the soundtrack for the Rat Fink movie. They're just awesome. And it's two brothers, Dallas and Travis Good, and then two other guys, Sean Dean and Mike Boletsky. And they've been making records since the early 90s, and I love them. I've seen them many times. I've met them. They're awesome dudes. And then 2 years ago, Dallas, one of the brothers, the lead singer, died unexpectedly of an undiagnosed, I say undiagnosed heart condition. They diagnosed it about 2 weeks before he died. And it was a shock to the entire music industry. And I was really sad because I absolutely love this band because they are very different. You'd like it, Alex, because it's not proggy, but the stuff they do with the guitar is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So they soldiered on as a trio. And Travis Good, the surviving brother, is not a front man. He just would play guitar and stay in the back. He's a gentle giant. He's like 11 and a half feet tall and scary as shit. But he is absolutely one of the nicest men I've ever met. Just kind-hearted man. So they soldiered on as a three-piece, and he took over the duties of being the singer. And this is a real guitar-driven band. Both the brothers played guitars. Did a lot of sort of dueling guitar stuff. So for him to take that on without another guitar player, and he did an incredible job. Never thought that they would record another album. Well, this is a collaboration with another guy named Rick White, who is a rock musician from out east somewhere out in the Maritimes. Don't really know where. The Sadies and Rick White were in another super group called The Unintended with Greg Keeler from Blue Rodeo, and they did kind of an alt rock album, which is awesome. And he's been a friend of theirs for years. And Rick White did a tribute album called Rick White Plays the Sadies last year in honor of Dallas's passing. So Rick White has teamed up with them, and he's taken over Dallas's responsibilities. And this is an original album by Rick White and the Sadies dedicated to the memory of Dallas Good. And it sounds exactly like the Sadies. And it's like all their albums. It's brilliant. And so glad that there is another Sadies record out there. So
they also did a record with Gord Downie, right?
They did. That was oh shit, what was that called? I can't remember. Yeah, they did an album with Gord Downie a couple years before he passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've done stuff with a lot of people. Love their albums. Alex, what's up, man? What do you got?
Let's see. What else do I have here?
What else you
got? Well, hold on. Sorry. Let me just go through some stuff. Okay. I guess, I'll show this, even though it's been done to death in the VC, as it were. But I'll show it too, just to fit in. And that is the new set from Black Sabbath, featuring the Tony Martin years. I'm coming in with this on a very different perspective than I think a lot of other people, and that is I had never heard any of these albums before. None of them. So, you know, I always mention this with people who are older than me. You know, it's like I don't have any experience of like what it felt like for the Beatles to break up, or you know, for Ozzy not to be singing in Black Sabbath anymore, or any of those different things, right? So I think obviously I just come in with sort of a different perspective in that way. And so hearing these albums and hearing Tony Martin singing for Sabbath for the first time, it was just interesting because I didn't come in with all the baggage that so many Black Sabbath fans had come in with for years and all that kind of stuff. And I'll be honest, I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed them. I think I appreciate that they evolved with the times, and where a lot of, you know, didn't. You know, they really did sort of create the whole doomy heavy metal sound of the early 70s, all that kind of stuff. But then, you know, in the 80s, when Ronnie James Dio joined the band, it was a faster, heavier, more jacked up, like speedier version, which was what was cool at the time. You know, and they get to hear in these, I mean, there's elements of this that I'm not going to say it sounds like hair metal, but like there's keyboards, there's more, like it's just a different sounding band entirely. So, yeah, I mean, the short of it is that I'm still digesting this, but as someone who never heard these albums, I dig them. I appreciate them, and yeah, grateful to have this this cute little box. So yeah.
All right, let's catch up on what folks are saying, and then we'll wrap this up. Apparently, Brian, you're not allowed to mention the Beatles record that Ben bought. What was it?
Well, it wasn't actually a Beatles record. It was cover versions of Beatles. And I can't remember what it was called, but it had a lot of interesting artists on it. The Triffids. I'm drawing a blank on the rest.
It's not like a movie soundtrack, is it? Because there's a couple.
No,
because there's like I Am Sam, which is actually really good.
No, it wasn't that. It was, I can't remember. I didn't even look closely at the cover, but it was interesting cover versions. And I can't remember all the artists.
Dan, how you doing, sir? John, we're not talking about Billy Joel tonight. I've seen that I've sewn that album, apparently. Jason has sewn he's sewn an album. I don't know if he's ever heard it. All right. I assume he means he's seen that album. That's an elite observation, Alex. Whatever your observation was.
I think it was the Lemmy Kilmister Hawkwind reference.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
James has been a fan of the Beaches since, yes, they were done with Dolls. That's the name of the album, or the name of the band before they were the Beaches. That's right. I need to get their back catalog, though. I just haven't stumbled across it yet. That is, in fact, the first time I've seen a Beaches record in a store. So, whatever happened to the Canadian band Chilliwack? I used to see their albums a lot growing up in North Dakota. I think are they still doing like the casino circuit? I think they are.
I think they are. Yeah.
I don't know how many Chilliwackians are left in the band, but
could be. Yeah.
Rocker Box by Chilliwack, heavy record from them. I don't know that album. After Brian McLeod left to form the Headpins, Chilliwack never did as well. Yeah, I think the kind of a legacy thing that I think probably has one or two members left and they're still going around. But their greatest hits is a compilation of their songs. Well, yeah. Richard, the Sadies sound interesting. Yeah, they do. They're you can't go wrong with any of their albums. They're all the ones that are Sadies records, not the ones they did with other people. They are electric, psychedelic cowboy music. I think is probably a fair. It's not country, but there's some twang in there, but there's also some sort of, that's why they're called sort of cosmic cowboys. I don't really know how to describe it. I think all of their albums are good, except I think it's the first one called Pure Diamond Gold, which I think is pure diamond garbage. but I think the rest of them are fantastic. The live album called Live in Concert Volume 1 is amazing. If I were to start with one, personally, I would start with Tremendous Efforts, which came out in the early 90s. I think it was her second or third record. It's only on CD. I wish it would come out on vinyl. But that was my entry point, and it's just a hell of an awesome album. But they're all great. So if you like sort of, kind of cosmic guitar music, check out the Sadies. They're great. I never heard of any of those Black Sabbath albums. James stopped at Born Again in 83. Trevor says, saw Sabbath with Tony Martin on the Forbidden Tour. Poorly attended. Frankly, most went to see Motorhead opening.
Yeah,
Richard
it's kind of crazy hearing stories about
very few Sabbath albums. He loves the Mob Rules album quite a bit.
Yeah.
John, have you been drinking tonight or what? I would never mean to make you sad, John. I invited you up to join us, but you didn't take me up on it. So, you're always welcome, John. I think it would be epic if a famous band put out a greatest hit that was another band's greatest hits. That would be hilarious. Hilarious. All right, guys, we're kind of getting close to the 2-hour mark. What do you guys want to talk about? You got anything earth-shattering to tell? Anything you put out? Anything you're working on? We got to fill 9 minutes here. So, what's cooking, Brian? You're like the most frequent poster out of us all.
Am I? Well, as I mentioned off the top, I'm going to Italy tomorrow. And I do have 2 videos I recorded, so they will come out. Maybe one tomorrow, one, I don't know when. But other than that, I'll be like radio silent for a couple of weeks. So I probably won't even get to watch anything. So I'll just be doing Italian.
You could record a couple shorts on your phone when you're in Italy.
I could do that.
Like,
yeah,
you
might
might
hear
at the
something
Coliseum, everybody.
That's right, the Coliseum.
Brian, I will be seeing you in about a month's time.
That is true.
And so if you are over there, well, you will be over there in Italy, and you do find your way into some record stores, and you do find some Italian Prague. Well, I know FVA sent you the playlist, So
just generally Italian Prague. All right.
The thing is you want to, we were talking about this, is it's like you want, a lot of that stuff never got distributed over here, so finding original stuff is very difficult, but it's one of those things of like, you want it's like the Anthem press thing. Like for you all, you run into, these Rush on Anthem records all the time, down here, there's no way. So
Russian Anthem.
Look at that,
Yeah.
But so if you find me some Italian Prague over there, I'll make it worth your while.
Whoa, it's quite the offer.
Well, so just I want you to be thinking of me while you're over there. Is what I'm saying.
Right? Yeah. Right. I got it.
I think I want.
I know nothing about Italian Prague.
I think I want to go record shopping this weekend, Alex. At some of my flea markets that I usually go to, and I'll look for some Max Webster for you.
Oh, hell yeah.
James wants to know what we think of Wing's new one-hand clapping release. Any of you heard it?
Can I say something, Rob?
Please. Oh, this sounds like important. So hold on.
No, it's not. I just, it's like, when something happens, like politically or culturally or socially, and you just need to like walk away from social media for a week because everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Generally, how I feel about most of these Beatle-related releases is everybody and their brother's got to talk about the one-hand clap. Everybody's got to talk about Mind Games. Everybody has to mention that they're best friends with the people at the Lennon estate. I just...
Sorry. That was awesome.
It's just one of those things that I've not listened to it. But it's from a good era. It's from a good period. But you know what, Rob? Not to go down this path, but like, check me if I'm wrong here. But you are not as big on like Beatles solo stuff,
nope.
Right?
Couldn't care less.
Yes. I mean, does this even like mean?
Nope.
shit to you. There you go.
Nope. And you know what? So, and I've said it before, I like John's solo stuff. Do I have all of it? Nope. Will I buy any of the reissues? Nope. Do I care that there's a Mind Game Super Deluxe whatever? Nope. I'm good. I listen, I appreciate their talents, whatever, but to me the magic of the Beatles was the Beatles. They were greater than the sum of their individual parts. And their solo stuff doesn't really interest me that much. So do I care that any of this stuff comes out? No. I mean, for the people that enjoy it, great. Cool. Enjoy it. Have fun. Listen to it. Whatever. I can't think of anything solo Beatles that would interest me enough to buy. I just don't. And Glenn would say, "It doesn't make you a Beatles fan." Whatever.
I think I agree with that. I mean, it's tough, right? Because like people, do you need 6 CDs of Mind Games?
Well, I mean, I have like 17 Sgt. Peppers, so like I understand that mentality.
Sure. Well, but the funny thing is though with the Beatles thing is like, if anything to me, I said this before, the only Beatles solo record I love is All Things Must Pass. That is the one I love. There's a lot I really, really, really like. Well, not a lot. There's a few I really, really like, but a lot of it to me is just very like, it's to me, it's just generic sort of music that reminds me of how much they needed each other.
Yes. Yes. I agree with you 10,000%. Yes, I agree. And you know what? There's only one Beatles solo album that I really love, and it's John Lennon's Rock and Roll, and it's all covers.
It's rock and roll. There you go. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, sure, I like the song Instant Karma, and I like Imagine, but yeah, I'm just kind of like, they're fine. But, listen, people do whatever they want to do, and I'm happy that people are listening to whatever they're listening to. But I see the people that are just like so micro focused on anything that is any sort of Beatles related release. Like it could be John's housekeeper's sister's dogs, whatever.
I need like the 12 LP special edition Uber Deluxe of like what Ringo's fourth, like is that
yeah, like I just if that again, it always comes back to if that's what you enjoy it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll get off the Beatles train at that point.
That was a point that Glenn, mentioned that I totally agree with, is that and maybe this is a stream idea, Rob. Is unless it is like a really ridiculous deal, and I've gotten some crazy deals, like I no shame in mentioning that. Like sometimes there's like a glitch on Amazon and you get some shit that you're like, oh. But like getting away from the box sets that are just maybe it's a remastered album and then 4 discs of demos and outtakes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, if it's a band or an artist that you love, obviously I'm never going to shame anybody else for what they want to buy. But for me, it's like I don't need 17 outtakes of like a Rolling Stone. It's
so that brings up something that when the Revolver box set came out, I expressed an opinion that was not a popular one.
Yeah,
I bought it because I'm a Beatles completist. So if it's a Beatles album, I'm going to buy it. And there was some things in that box set I liked, but I made the argument that by the time we get to Revolver, it's diminishing returns in terms of what is in a super deluxe. Yeah. And I don't know. I can't remember what's in there off the top of my head, but you get like 4 different demos of one song and 3 different demos of another song. And I go, is that really worth my money? And everyone's like, oh, we need a Rubber Soul super deluxe and we need to do all the albums. And I go, do we really though? Because what's going to be in there that is of any substantive value? The earlier albums, like you take, for example, Please Please Me. The entire album was recorded in 18 hours. There's nothing left on the cutting room floor, folks.
Yeah.
So, for the later albums, like Abbey Road and the White Album and Sgt. Pepper? Yeah, because there's a ton of cool stuff there because they were inventing shit as they were going along, right? So, yeah, but then you get to the earlier stuff, there's less to it. So, yeah, I don't need 7 demos of the same song at all. So,
Yeah.
and that's not me being a curmudgeon old bastard. That's just I don't need it. But if that's your thing, again, cool. Who am I to judge? I showed a Bon Jovi record tonight, so what the hell do I know?
I was gonna say I don't even have all of Beatles records, believe it or not.
Well, that's wrong. Everyone should have at least one copy of every studio album.
I don't.
Wow, shame on you. James says he doesn't like the Mind Games hidden tracks. You can't easily Well, how are they hidden? That's interesting. I didn't know there was anything hidden
On the DVD. I think you have to do some.
Is it like a cheat code for Nintendo, like up, down, X star, square, circle, left?
I think it's
right,
like
up,
back, reverse track, or back one track or something 5 times until you find something like that.
So it's like a Nintendo cheat code. That might be too old for you, Alex. That might Nintendo's a little before you.
Sir.
You said you were a child in the 2000s.
Yeah, that was more of actually funny. My first platform, I guess, or console was Sega Genesis.
I love that Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah. Well, and this is especially nerdy that I don't know if you remember, but one of the coolest things. I mean, there's a lot of just classic games on there, but the Sonic the Hedgehog thing. But looking back, it was so wild. Like I don't even know how they did this, but they had. I forget exactly what the proprietary term for it was, but it was like the bundle to it where you would put in Sonic and the disc, you would open up the lid, and then on top of that you would throw on Knuckles.
I didn't know that.
And it was actually like you would put the game cartridge in another game cartridge, and then you could play as both Sonic and Knuckles.
That's cool.
Which, for 1995 or 6, that was pretty crazy at the time.
I spent a lot of time in university at my girlfriend's place with her roommate, and he and I would play Sonic the Hedgehog, and we played The Lost World Jurassic Park on Sega Genesis.
Oh, hell yeah.
To the wee hours of the morning. I'm going to date myself. My first video game system was the original Atari 2600 with the fake wood veneer on the front.
Oh, yeah.
Pac-Man, Donkey Kong,
Pong,
Chopper Command, Asteroids. Hell yeah.
Oh man, I've never owned a game console, so that's gonna make me feel not all the Beatles records, and no game console.
I'm not a video game guy, and we do not have a current video games. We have a few older video game systems in this house, so my kid can play like Lego Star Wars on the Wii, but I don't want my kid to be one of those video game addicted kids. So
yeah.
Apparently, I've saved myself $1.2 million by not buying all the Beatles solo stuff, and I'm thankful for that. Let's see here. At least it's a change from Sabbath that I mentioned Black Sabbath. There you go. When it comes to Beatles solo stuff, I'm good with greatest hits packages. I don't even have any Beatles solo greatest hits. I have a smattering I have All Things Must Pass, and I have Ringo, and I have like 2 McCartney albums, and I got like 3 Lennon albums, and that's it. I'm good. The Sabbath audiophile hype is finished now. Good. Let's see here. Skip down a little bit, and we'll wrap this thing up. Each Beatles solo album had as many good songs by that individual as on a Beatles album. Elvis outtakes were obnoxious. I am digging one hand clapping as well, but I'm a big Wings fan. So the hidden tracks are before the first track on each CD. Interesting. ColecoVision. There you go. That's going way back. All right. So Brian's going to Italy, so we're not going to see Brian for a couple of weeks, and he's not going to post anything. Alex, what's you got anything you want to tell folks about that you have published or anything that you're working on?
Yeah, I got a couple videos. I just, in fact, I think I have I'm trying to, support more people. I need to get on like the Brian level of support for everybody and start getting on more of these threads and stuff that get out there. So I just posted mine just a couple hours ago to for Ed over at On My Turntable about his sort of female artist spotlight stuff. So that's up there, but I'm hoping to get the 1985 one out there for Mike. Hoping to get the Sleepy Time CPAP machine one out there for Mark. Got some other kind of videos in the works. I got 3 concert review videos I got to do, all that good stuff. And so,
what you need to do is go buy a CPAP machine and have it on while you're doing the video.
Yeah, that's
that'll do it.
That's
dedication right there.
Get some props. That's a write-off, I think. So
for sure. And don't forget to mention, everybody, check out the Father's Day special on Alex's channel.
Yeah,
because it's good. You might recognize some of the folks in that video. Just saying.
Might.
As for myself, I just did the Females in Music video, was my Sunday upload, and that was fun. What do I have coming up? I don't know. I'm kind of thinking I saw somebody do a video about albums that they own multiples of. And I did one about my Sgt. Pepper's ages ago, like 2 years ago, which nobody watches because no one watches my old videos, which is probably good because they sucked. My ones I make now still suck, but they don't suck as much as the early ones suck. So I may do a video about some albums that I have multiples of and why I have multiples of them, because in my mind, there's logic to it. Here's a very important question in the comments. Where can I get some records? Well, I really recommend folks should check vinylstoragesolutions.ca.
I did have a question. Did they have, and I don't know if I'm going to get it from vinylstoragesolutions.ca just because I don't have to deal with Canadian shipping.
I could probably tell you what they got because I'm like one of their brand ambassadors.
You sure are. I need fucking box set sleeves.
They have them. Yes, they have
more
4 different sizes
type of stuff that I could,
Yeah, they have them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you go to their website and you use the promo code Northern10, you get a 10% discount.
It's not bad.
And, a few cents will get tossed my way.
Well, I know you need it, so
I got to thank everyone, by the way, who I mean, I make this comment jokingly all the time, but for you folks that have actually done it, I've made a decent commission off of that. So I don't have to pay for record sleeves because of the commission. So thank you, everybody that has done that. I appreciate it. It's awesome.
What's the shipping like?
They have a promo on right now where it's like a flat rate shipping. I don't know what the details are, but they run these promos every now and then. When the promos are not on, it can be fairly expensive, but if you reach a certain threshold, I think they have prepaid shipping. But
all right. Okay, cool.
They don't pay me enough to know all of this information. I just point everyone over there and check it out. So yeah, I may be doing a thing about multiples later this week, and I got to think of a new podcast topic because I'm overdue for my podcast episode too. So
right.
And Sam and Jason, I guess they'll be back next week. I might not be here next week, so Alex might have to host next week. I'll let you know because my boss is in town next week, unfortunately. And when my boss is in town, he doesn't believe in a separation between work and personal life. So I end up having many late night obligations when my boss is in town. So I may not be here next week. We'll let you know. Either I will be and hosting, and if I'm not, Alex probably will be. But at some point in the next few weeks, we should have the original gang back together. But summer's a busy time for everybody. So that's where we stand. You got anything else, guys? Or are we going to wrap this up?
I think that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, as usual, thank you, everyone that watched. We're always thrilled that you guys join us every week and give us a couple hours of your time. We appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Brian, for joining our panel tonight. And as always, Alex, everybody else, thanks for watching. And we'll see you guys again soon. Have a good night, folks.